What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be having another episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly, where we look at the previous results for the Chicago Bulls, give out the rewards to the respective people that had great games. Some of them not have the best games in terms of this current stage of the Chicago Bulls, and also look, I guess, ahead of what's to come for the Chicago Bulls heading into next week. So we know the standard, ladies and gentlemen, the standard Bulls Weekly. That's what we're providing to you guys. So before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls overall previous week and obviously what we have to come. The Chicago Bulls went 2-2 this week, which basically matched my prediction for the Chicago Bulls as well. So very, very interesting stuff there. Obviously, I thought we were just going to lose to Boston and Philly and would end up beating the Spurs and the Pacers, but at the end of the day, it was not the case. We ended up beating the Boston Celtics, but we definitely lost to the San Antonio Spurs. Off of 2 nights of a back-to-back, our schedule has been rough thus far, but we've just got to keep pushing, we've just got to keep moving, and we'll wait and see how things turn out. Firstly, though, let's look at those scores. So the Boston Celtics game, very, very interesting game where we won 120 to 102. This game basically went from a 19-point deficit to an 18-point win. An incredible comeback for the Chicago Bulls, but still a lot of negatives that we saw in that game, especially in terms of allowing Boston to get to that type of lead. And I think that's the key for a lot of the games that you're about to see with the Chicago Bulls. However, that was not the thing we saw against the Indiana Pacers. We won this game 124 to 109. A game that, and at the end of the day, we started off very well. We had a big lead in the game, but the Indiana Pacers were the one playing comeback, and they did very well. They came very, very close, but the Bulls managed the game and saw out a very good win in terms of our season. And again, I think it's a win that many of us expected. But then we turn to the San Antonio Spurs. A lot of people thought this would be a trap game, and a trap game it was. Spurs had a great start to their season, and they ended up beating the Chicago Bulls 129 to 124. A very, very upsetting loss, I can't lie. But this is the type of thing that the Bulls, at the end of the day, it was a competitive game. We saw a couple of guys get hurt in this game as well. And the Spurs played better in terms of their three-point shooting. And sometimes three-point shooting can be the difference maker in the game. If you actually look at the stats of that game, I think most things were in our favor. Second chance points, bench production, fouls, free throws. All those things, I believe, were in our favor. But assists were not in our favor. And three-point shooting was not in our favor. They shot 42% from the three-point line, I believe, and the Bulls only shot 33%. So those were the big differences in the game as the reason why the Spurs actually won the game. They also had a lot more turnovers than us. And then we turn to Philadelphia. A game with no Andre Drummond, a game with no Ayo Dosunmu, and a game where the curse continues as Joel Embiid haunts the Chicago Bulls once again, and we lose 114 to 109. I thought if there was any chance to win the game against Philadelphia, this would be the one. Look, we've had very close games with Philadelphia. DeMar DeRozan seems to know his way around scoring against Philadelphia as the way that we saw last year as well. But again, we just can't seem to beat that team, and we just can't seem to beat Joel Embiid. And even with Vucevic playing amazing basketball in that second half, we just still could not get the job done. So, frustrating loss. I still feel that loss as well. But it's definitely a loss where we did play well. We fought hard. I wouldn't say necessarily say we played well. We played well in sporadic moments of the game. Philadelphia still ended up going to a 19-point lead, and we had to come back. The comeback Bulls, as I like to call them now. But we just did not have enough to win the game. So very, very frustrating there. But now we go into the must improve, the sixth man of the week and the player of the week. And I've got to be honest, I think this is a very difficult one to give for two of the awards. I think the sixth man of the week, I'm fairly confident with who I'd give it to there. But the games against Boston, Pacers, and Spurs, as well as Philadelphia, I think everybody kind of stepped up in different ways. I think Kobe White had a great game against the San Antonio Spurs, and he did well, I think, in other games as well, but he also had some, I guess, bad games. Patrick Williams was the same. Even Goran Dragic had a bad game here and there. So the must improve, I feel like it's very difficult to give because it was in sporadic moments in this team. So I'm not actually going to give a must improve. If you feel like you have the answer for the must improve award, let me know in the comments below. But again, when I looked to this team and I looked at who played well and who didn't play well, there were so many inconsistent performances in this team. Patrick Williams had some good games. He also had some bad games. Kobe White had good games. He also had some bad games. Dragic had some good games. He also had some bad games. Vooch had some good games. He also had some very bad games. Same with DeMar DeRozan, even Zach LaVine. There were so many guys that had good games and bad games throughout this week that it's really, really difficult to just select one person. So maybe I could give it to the whole team, but we did go 2-2. We didn't actually have a negative, I guess, start to the year in many ways. Again, it's a neutral record, but still, I think we got to be a lot better than this overall. The sixth man of the week for me, personally, is going to be Andre Drummond. Again, Andre Drummond had two really amazing games this time out. I think the one against the Pacers, I believe, was fantastic. He had a great game against the Spurs as well. And obviously, he didn't play the Philadelphia game. But if he played the Philadelphia game, we may very well be talking about a win here as well. So very, very interesting stuff. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing what we could do against Philadelphia with a fully healthy team. But DeMar DeRozan, nevertheless, still deserves that Sixth Man of the Week award. And the player of the week is also very tough. One person I'm going to cancel out of this situation straight away is Zach LaVine. I don't think he had the best game against Philly. He had a great game against the Pacers, but ultimately there were games he didn't play this week. The San Antonio Spurs one, to be exact. So I'm going to skip him out of that real quick. Vucevic, I think DeMar and Vucevic both had one really bad game this week. I believe DeMar DeRozan had a poor game. I think it was against the Pacers. I can't actually remember. Again, 4 games is very, very foggy. He had 17 points in that game, I believe. And I think Vooch had a very, very, very bad game against the San Antonio Spurs. So I would probably say the player of the game or the player of the week would be DeMar DeRozan. So let me know if you agree or disagree with that one as well. Arguably, you could still just give it to Andre Drummond off of the bench. I think he's definitely a candidate. He had 2 amazing games this week, and he helped us really, I guess, compete in those games as well. One of them we walked away with the win. Other one, we didn't necessarily play very well, and we lost the game to the Spurs. So I would say DeMar DeRozan, but let me know in the comments below what you think. So with all that being said, we've got some games to look forward to next week, ladies and gentlemen. And let's start off with the back-to-back that we all know was coming against the Brooklyn Nets first and foremost. Brooklyn Nets are 1-5 in terms of their season right now. So at the end of the day, they're in a position right now where they're either going to fight like hell to break out of it, or they're going to fold, in my opinion. And a start of the season can do that for you, especially when you're 1-5. It's as simple as that. So we've got to find a way to, I guess, overcome the storm that will be coming with the Brooklyn Nets. Again, another trap game. Anytime, even I don't care what their record is, anytime you see Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on a team, that's a trap game in every sense of the word. If you don't play your best against the Brooklyn Nets, they're going to make you pay. So the Chicago Bulls have to play their best. There's no other exception. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. If we don't play our best against Brooklyn, we will lose the game. Wait and see what the outcome will be. But then obviously we've got the Charlotte Hornets in a back-to-back. Charlotte, I don't believe, have LaMelo Ball, which is obviously their best player. The Bulls don't have Lonzo Ball, so this is a game that not many people are going to be very entertained by. But Hornets are still a very good offensive team. They've been inconsistent from time to time. And then obviously as well, the Bulls have been the same. We have a negative record at the end of the day. We've been inconsistent at best as well. So that is obviously a good game to look out for. And then we've got another game against the Boston Celtics. So 3 games to look forward to in terms of this week. Technically, the next game after that would also be on a Sunday for you guys, but it's going to be on a Monday for me. So I'd just rather prefer to do it on my style, I guess, and just we'll move on from that one. Maybe I'll just do it, I guess, the Australian Bulls Weekly or whatever you like to call it. But yeah, I'm going to end it with the Celtics game. 3 games to look forward to this week. And I ultimately think the Chicago Bulls are going to go 2-1 this week in terms of this week. So I think we'll eventually lose a game this week. Maybe it's going to be against the Boston Celtics. Maybe that revenge game that they're going to be looking forward to this week. Maybe we lose to Boston. Maybe we consider the Nets game as a trap game and we lose to the Brooklyn Nets. Or maybe Charlotte's offense will be too good for our defense and stuff like that, whatever the case may be. But I do think we should be going positive this week. I think the actual games that we have are winnable games. We've obviously proven we can beat Boston. I think we can beat Brooklyn, but they're going to be weathering the storm very soon, in my opinion. We've got to be ready for that. And I do think we can beat Charlotte without LaMelo Ball. So, again, very, very interesting games. Hopefully, we'll get Andre Drummond and Io back for those games, and we'll see how things go. Hopefully, a lot more of a positive week to talk about. I don't think it's in panic mode right now. I know we're 3-4, negative record and all, but I really do have some optimism about this team. I can't lie. the way that I see it, this bench mob has been fantastic. And if you add Lonzo Ball back to this team right now, I think a lot of our starting lineup issues doesn't necessarily disappear, but it becomes significantly less of a problem. I don't think we're going to be conceding 19-point deficits to other teams when Lonzo Ball is going to be in the lineup. That's personally what I feel. But again, until that happens, it's going to be a big issue and we're going to have to overcome it. And I think the Bulls need to find ways to overcome it. If it's a starting lineup change, then do it. If it's a defensive structure change, then do it. If it's an offensive structure change, then do it. Billy Donovan, I think, needs to find the answer because our starting lineup has not been working every single game realistically. So we've got to be better. But thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Let me know in the comments below how many games you think we'll win in this week. My prediction is 2-1. Do you think we'll go 3-0? Do you think we'll lose all of the games? Maybe we win one. Whatever the case may be, just feel free to let me know in the comments below. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.